Now, in this elimination round, there are going to be a lot of interesting topics to be debated, and the topics that will be debated by different schools. Prostitution should be legalized. The LNG project has more negative effects for PNG. Democracy is the ideal form of government. The Mining Act should be reviewed for maximum benefit of landowners. There should be compulsory HIV test, and the Vagrancy Act should be introduced. So those are some of the interesting topics that will be debated in the elimination round of the IBS school debate for NCD and the Central Province schools. For now, I'd like to introduce to you our schools that will be debating the topic called Prostitution Should Be Legalized. Please make welcome from Sogeri National High School, who are the affirmative team, Terence Cross, Melissa Manuai, Sonia Thyme, and Timothy Nigal. And from the opposing team, let's make welcome Team Badihagwa Secondary, Henari Veratao, Vai Lahui, Anthony Amsia, and Ambrose Daniels. Thank you all, and good luck to you. Very interestingly, there's been a lot of discussions recently on the issue of legalizing prostitution in Papua New Guinea. And this has been ongoing issue within the within the local communities, and even right up to at the government level. But today, we are privileged to hear what the young people of Papua New Guinea have to say about this topic: prostitution should be legalized. So, ladies and gentlemen, let the battle begin. May I now call upon the first speaker from the affirmative team from Sogeri National High School, Terence Cross.
When I strongly say prostitution should be legalized, most of you may wonder, most of you may argue and laugh at me because you are still thinking in the box. Before firing the unstoppable bullets from the Rocky Mountains of Sogeri, I'll introduce my speakers with awful points. Then, I'll give a brief definition on what legalized and prostitution mean. I'll be talking about health aspect. The second speaker will stress on social aspect. The third speaker will emphasize on economical aspect. And the final speaker will sum it up. Prostitution is an industry, just like SP Buru industry, cigarette industry, music industry, and you can name the rest. Legalize means to make something lawful or to make something or an activity lawful or some activity legal. Now, let me define the meaning of the topic. The topic says prostitution should be legalized. It means prostitutes will be protected, regulated by law, and licensed. Prostitution is the oldest profession in the world, and it has been prevalent in societies regardless of its illegality. I repeat, regardless of its illegality. That is why some countries like PNG have the highest rate of HIV AIDS in the South Pacific. Legalizing prostitution only acknowledge the existence of prostitute, meaning they are practicing prostitution on the streets, in the bush. While I am still even talking here, they are practicing it. But it is unsafe. The results in the, according to the HIV/AIDS statistics, states that 30% of the Papua New Guinean population victims of HIV/AIDS is increased every year. when prostitution is legalized, the spread of AIDS and HIV will be controlled and limited. This is because brothels have enough supply of contraceptives and regulations in there. For example, if a person is HIV/AIDS positive, then it will be allowed to go with a prostitute who is also HIV/AIDS positive. According to the article, Legalizing Prostitution, it is stated that developing countries where prostitution is illegalized has the highest rate of HIV, AIDS, and STDs. But countries, and the best example is PNG, and countries which have low prostitution, which have low HIV, AIDS, and STDs, where prostitution is legalized. For example, is Senegal. It also helps the government to find how many people are infected with AIDS and STDs. That is why we strongly believe that prostitution should be permitted. Well, the opposition speaker may come up and say that Papua New Guinea is a Christian country. But the fact is that it is a Christian country, but there is not enough Christian living in it. Because PNG has the highest rate of HIV/AIDS in the Pacific, too. It is ranked among the top 5 countries which are corrupted in the world. Now, I would like to make recommendations here. Prostitutes must be 18 years and above. 2, allowing them access to counseling, guidance, and welfare support. Thank you.
And the first speaker from the affirmative team, Team Sogeri National High, with the topic prostitution should be legalized. Now let's hear from the opposing team, Badihagwa Secondary. Please make welcome Henari Veratao.
Thank you, MC. The affirmative side stated something that prostitution is the oldest profession. Do you agree? Did our forefathers practice prostitution? Is it our cultural heritage? No way. Anyway, good morning, adjudicators, the MC, the timekeepers, and the lovely audience. I'm Henry Veratao, the first speaker of the negative side, and I will be emphasizing how prostitution affects our lifestyle, particularly our culture and tradition. The social and societal aspects will be highlighted by the second speaker, Vailahu. Atani Amsia, the third speaker, will talk about the moral and ethical aspects regarding prostitution. And lastly, but not the least, as usual, our last speaker will give a synopsis of our contradiction towards the theme. Anyway, the theme states that prostitution should be legalized, and we are going against that theme. Let me get you back to perspective. I know for sure that we all have our cultures and traditions, true. And as Papua New Guineans, we are born into a culture and tradition. And that very cultures and traditions shape our lives and guide our lives. For example, I as a Motuan boy, we Motuan are fishermen. And that's a cultural heritage given down from our forefathers to our fathers and to me. We fish to survive. Let me ask you a question. Is prostitution a cultural heritage? No way. So why legalize prostitution? Or even worse, prostitutional industries? Let us be realistic. and think logically. Make decisions with reason. Do not let your heart overrun your reason. And mind you, our national pledge clearly states that we pay homage to our cultural heritage. Where's the homage? Where's the loyalty? Where's the respect? By just legalizing that immoral activity, which will eradicate our culture and tradition. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, prostitution cannot fit our lifestyle, and it is not parallel to our lifestyle. You cannot fit a square post into a round hole. So if prostitution is legalized, automatically there will be prostitutional industries. For that matter, our culture, our tradition will vanish. Let me paint you a picture. I had a daughter, and she was to partake in a cultural show, and we Motuans dance half naked, as you all witness in the Hirimole festivals. Is it true? Especially the girls. So, they are attractive to the prostitutional industries. To an extent, they are mocked into the industries, unaware. So, what can I do, and what will you do to preserve our culture or to save our daughters? We are endangering our culture. And nowadays in Hanwabara, boys are highly respected in Hanwabara. But now, hey, girls or even worse, women don't have respect. Before they used to like walk past and say, excuse, but nowadays they used to do this. Excuse? So to prevent this and avoid this, with a negative side, strongly and beyond doubt, say that prostitution should not be legalized. Thank you.
Oh, Team Badihagwa. Let's see what the affirmative side have to say about their topic. Prostitution should be legalized. Please make welcome Melissa Manuai.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen and chairman. I'm the second speaker of the affirmative side, and I'll be presenting my points on the social aspects of the topic that prostitution should be legalized. Now, before I go on presenting my points, I would like to rebut on what my friends on the opposition side has mentioned about lifestyle and a changing heritage. Now, we are in a changing world, and we are part of the changing world. What you're saying is bringing us back to the past. Now, some of our cultures are a hindrance to the development of our nation. Now I'd like to present my points, and I will start off with a fact. Okay, in the US, based on Workers 2002, it is stated that 100,000 to 3 million teens in the US are invisibly prostituted. Now, if we weigh down prostitution, it is more like we are sending almost half of the population into prostitution. We are sweeping them into prostitution. Now, what my friend has mentioned earlier on about 18-year-olds, recommendation on 18-year-olds, you see, if we, and my point of, what my friend has said on the 18-year-old. Now, if we keep on encouraging and if we do not promote the laws about prostitution, or if we do not legalize prostitution, now it is more likely that children at the age of 18 and less than that are going to be swept into prostitution. My second point is, in some societies, prostitution is viewed as a group of profession. Now, all of you seated here, all of us seated here, have chosen what we want to become later on in life. Am I right? And what we want to do in life. Now, for prostitutions, they have, we choose what we want to become in life. And prostitutions also choose what they want to become in life. And they want to be prostitutes. That's why they are prostitutes. And let me give you an example. You just imagine yourself if we are Papua New Guineans, and you just imagine yourself being at a high class level and your father is the only one working. But then your father passed away, and you are left with your mother. And then your mother cannot fit into subsistence living. How would you survive? The only way, especially for girls, the only way is to go out and practice prostitution in order to earn money. Now, when prostitution is legalized, more control is being undertaken by the country. Like contraceptive methods will be put into effect, and VCT would be effective, because those people who want to become prostitutes, they will go through VCT and they will recommend them to be prostitutes. Now, in the Constitution of Papua New Guinea, it doesn't state that any prostitute, that any person that practices prostitute will be charged. It is not stated in the Constitution of Papua New Guinea. Now, Papua New Guinea is a democratic country in which we have freedom of choices and we have freedom of movement. Okay, let me recommend to you. Prostitution is already in place in Papua New Guinea. You walk in the streets of Port Moresby and you'll see potential prostitutes walking on the road. Or you may have known one of your sisters or your brothers may be a prostitute. However, prostitute just have to be legalized in Papua New Guinea so that we have control over the spreading of STDs in Papua New Guinea today, sexually transmitted diseases. Now, prostitution, the statistics of prostitution is also a vital information to the government. The reason why I'm saying this is because the United Nations, UNDP, needs the statistics of problems that are occurring in our countries in order to help out in the development of this nation. Therefore, we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that prostitute should be legalized in Papua New Guinea.
Please thank Melissa Manuai from the affirmative team, Team Sogeri National High. Now the discussion and the debate is getting very, very interesting. I can see everybody really listening to the fors and against, and doing your own discussions, I guess, at home too as well. All right, please make welcome from the opposing team, Vai Lahoy.
Thank you, MC. With due respect, let me make something clear here. Your argument stated prostitution is a professional way of earning money. Is it the only means of employment? Be realistic. There are a lot of money-making alternatives. I find that an act of laziness. Welcome to reality. When God found out that Adam and Eve were found guilty, He told them to sweat their guts out to earn a living, not prostitution. So the principle still applies these days, right? Prostitution should be legalized. Why? How can we possibly go on adapting to the newly introduced method of making money? Are we in any way related to this method that we should just give ourselves, our precious bodies away to the unknowns? We don't think so. Having to say that, prostitution greatly contributes towards the welfare of the family. In regards to social aspects, problems will be brought about by this particular activity. And my points being, steady increase in trafficking of illegal substances, drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, heroin, ice, and pornographic materials as well. We are adding more burden, ladies and gentlemen, to the ever-existing problems around us. At the moment, we are importing such materials. It won't be long, ladies and gentlemen, when you'll hear that we, a developing country, are exporting such materials to developed countries. I wonder what they would think about us. Oh, a developing country, they've run out of resources, and now this is the only option? Secondly, unwanted pregnancy. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no psychological aids implemented here in Papua New Guinea. For instance, where would a girl go for abortion when she's found out she's pregnant through the act of prostitution? No option. Instead, take up drugs, drink herbs, look for black magicians, or even worse, head for the bush, climb to the top of the tree, jump down with stomach first. Just get the real picture here. That unwanted pregnancies will be a headache to the family and the community as a whole. Public humiliation. There will be a greater and general increase in the welfare of the family. How would you feel if you found out that your mom was a prostitute and that all along you've been living off her earnings? Irrespectively, conflicts may arise. STIs such as HIV and AIDS will be brought about. Another contributing factor to death and a great loss that would be, ladies and gentlemen. And we don't want to see our loved ones in that category, do we? No. So, we, the negative team, totally and strongly agree that prostitution should not be legalized. Thank you.
And I guess you're learning new things as we go along. Those who are against sitting out here and listening, watching today, hearing from the opposing team, and also listening to the affirmative team, and then thinking really seriously about the issue at discussion, at debate today. Vai Lahui, she wants to be a journalist one day. Beautiful, give her a big hand. Please make welcome the third speaker from Team Sogeri National High, Sonia Thyme.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen and viewers. My opposition team said, you are giving away your body to the unknown. When it is legalized, then you know whether or not the person is HIV positive or not. To get the concept clear here, prostitution is already existing here, and the problem is we are facing prostitution. Prostitution is occurring everywhere. So we are trying to legalize it to protect and have safer sex instead of going everywhere and having prostitution. You said unwanted pregnancies. When prostitution is legalized, there'll be contraceptive methods will be used to prevent unwanted pregnancies. legalizing prostitution brings enormous economic benefits. Okay, down to my points. Prostitution is just like any other services. People work for money. Sex workers provide a service that is needed by people. Okay, firstly, it creates employment opportunities. According to the National Labor Organization, 1998 estimates that 2 to 14% of economic activity in Thailand is generated by legalized prostitution. Okay, for example, in the case of LNG project that is booming here, for you to be employed in the LNG project, you need highly skilled people to participate in the LNG project. But coming back to prostitution doesn't need any education qualifications. It doesn't need a degree or a diploma or even a grade 12, grade 10, or even a grade 8 certificate. It just needs a human being. Just think about the unemployed people out there. They have the potential to become prostitutes, but because it is not legalized, they are just there and struggling to make a living in this society. Secondly, it boosts tourism industry. According to the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2005 document, Dutch policy on prostitution reported that 14% of tourism flooding yearly has increased the level of economy in Netherlands. Okay. Third point, government also collects huge revenue from prostitution. When sex industry legalizes, the government collects huge revenue because the sex industry is a rapid growing industry as well as the employment of sex workers. The government uses these revenues to bring in more employment and bring in more basic services to the people. Fourthly, legalizing prostitution decreases poverty. According to the World Development Indicators, State 2005 indicated that many people in Senegal in Africa are employed as sex workers and receive a good salary that increases the standard of living. Now, in PNG, we have an influx of people into cities which are finding it hard to survive in this high cost of living. If the government legalizes prostitution, then these people can be able to be employed and their salaries will be same as the ones working in those government offices or other public servants. Okay. I just want to make a recommendation here. When there is someone willing to buy, there is always someone willing to sell. When we make something illegal, it does not kill the demand, but puts the service provider in a risky position. Now, in prostitution, when we don't legalize, it does not kill the demand of sex desires. It provides the sex workers in a risky position. Likewise, when we legalize prostitution, it meets the demand for sex and also protects the sex worker or the prostitutes. Therefore, we, the government side, strongly and firmly believe that prostitution should be legalized in Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Well, Sonia Thyme has had a say. Let's hear now what the opposing team have to say from Team Badihagwa Secondary. Please welcome Anthony Amsia.
Thank you, Chairman. The third speaker for the affirmative team had went a little bit of sidetrack, so let me put you back in track. Prostitution. Please, Papua New Guineans, let's be true Papua New Guineans. Prostitution is not a money-making alternative. True, it's a money-making, sorry, that's a slip of the tongue. It's a money-making alternative, but this is not the way. This is Papua New Guinea. We have abundant supply of resources. So, rather than tilling yourself for sex, go back home and till the land to survive. In talking about the safeguarding of the prostitutes, how sure are you? If you're talking about condom is 99% safe and 1% unsafe. How sure are you? without further ado, good morning, educators, the timekeeper, and the lovely and attentive audience. I, Atani Amsa, the third speaker for the opposition, will talk about the moral and ethic aspects of why we are not in favor of prostitution in the country. In biblical terms, prostitution is an immoral act. And in Papua New Guinea, we are a Christian country, and it denounces the practice of prostitution. We live by the 10 Commandments, and does any of the 10 Commandments state that prostitution is righteous? No. 7 Commandments says, thou shalt not commit adultery. And adultery, you're talking about prostitution. Women, girls, we are females. We have to have a little bit of pride in ourselves. Let's not look at prostitution as the way to earn money. You're giving yourself away. You're losing your values as women. For me, as a woman, I don't want to walk down the street and the boys out there will see me and say, oh, I'm Tukina Mary. No. I don't want to lose my dignity, my identity. And prostitution in the country, prostitution is an anti-social behavior. That is why the government of the day has not passed the bill of legalizing prostitution. So, prostitution goes beyond our social norms, our societal norms. And as women, please, girls, bear with me. Don't choose prostitution. Don't go with them. Don't legalize prostitution in Papua New Guinea. Let's forget the global view of prostitution. They have legalized prostitution, but let's not be like them. We are Papua New Guineans, Melanesian, so let's know the reality of who we are. Boys, I hope all of you will not want or will not like the idea of marrying somebody who is a And for you girls, for me too as a woman, I won't like the idea of being called a even though I'm innocent. So therefore, I and my team, the opposition, strongly, beyond no doubt, that prostitution should not be legalized. Thank you.
Whoa, it's getting hot as it goes along. All right, boys. Please make welcome the final speaker from the affirmative team, Team Sogeri National High School, Timothy Nigal.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Prostitution should be legalized in Papua New Guinea because it has some advantage. But before I proceed any further, I will have to rebut the first, the second, and the third speaker of the opposition. Well, the first speaker of the opposition is not part of our culture. Okay, that's good. It's not part of our culture, certainly true. Okay, then all of us have to go back to our culture. Go back home, remove all the clothes, wear grass skirt, use counsel to communicate someone 500 miles away. In a modernized world, you certainly cannot do it. You have to adapt with the modern world. If you want to live back in the Stone Age, fine, you go, you go. The second speaker of the opposition mentioned something about that prostitution is not the only way to earn money. Well, guys, let's get straight. Thailand was a developing country and is among the poorest nations in Southeast Asia. Until prostitution was legalized, Thailand is now among the richest nations in the Orientals, especially in Southeast Asia. Prostitution actually attracts more investors, people from all over the countries around the world, especially tourists. They go to Thailand, they spend money. Thailand is now among the richest nations. And the third speaker of the opposition tried to put something on track, but actually she went further on the wrong track. She mentioned something that Papua New Guinea is a Christian country. Papua New Guinea is a Christian country. Well, most Papua New Guinea profess to be Christian. If Papua New Guinea is a Christian country and you don't want to legalize prostitution, why in the world did you legalize alcohol in the first place? Alcohol is just the same as prostitution. You shouldn't have legalized alcohol in the first place if you say that Papua New Guinea is a Christian country. We are just saying Christian country for the sake of saying with our mouth. In reality, most of Papua New Guineans are corrupt. Now I'll have to go back to my points now. Well, firstly, it's about the health side of it. Prostitution, believe it or not, actually decrease the rate of STDs, sexually transmitted disease, and this is a fact from statistics and figures derived from studies and research. Well, I have to give you the facts too. According to a study carried out in the United States, in the tiny state of Nevada, prostitution was legalized, and it is now still considered legal. That is in Nevada. In a study carried out, they made a comparison between 3 states, Washington, D.C., and New Jersey. From the comparisons they made and from the statistics derived, they found out that in the other states where prostitution is considered illegal, the number of prostitutes or street prostitution, that is the illegal one, the number of women who are in that street prostitution have increased, especially in AIDS. There are now 60% of HIV/AIDS prostitutes in Washington, D.C., and they belong to the profession of street prostitution or illegal prostitution. Whereas in New York, the figure proved that the number was 50%. So 50% of illegal prostitutes in New York were street prostitutes. They were illegal. But in Nevada, remember, Nevada, it was made legal. Prostitution is legal in Nevada. And believe it or not, according to the statistics and figures, as of 1989, none of the prostitutes in Nevada has ever tested positive of HIV/AIDS. And this is a hard fact and a proof that you all will never ignore. This is a fact. If prostitution is legalized in Papua New Guinea is now ranked as the nation in the South Pacific with the highest rate of HIV and AIDS. That is a good news to the people of Papua New Guinea, good or bad, prostitutes or non-prostitutes, that HIV rate will decrease. Secondly, socially, we can see that the exploitation of women or women trafficking will actually decrease if prostitution is legalized and until when prostitution is legalized. When prostitution is considered illegal, people are trafficking women all over the world without their willpower, without their decision to all other countries to practice prostitution. Only when prostitution is legalized, then they will have the right figures and the right statistics. And they will also check if the prostitutes have the right documents, for example, passports or visas, to enter a certain country. If it is made illegal, this won't happen. And most of you, your mothers, your daughters, or your grandma will be trafficked out of other countries to practice prostitution. And that we all don't like. Furthermore, a study conducted in Queensland in 1959 proved that the amount of the number of rape cases actually increased when brothels, for information, brothels are where prostitutes live. When brothels are made illegal, the number actually moved up to 149%. That's a massive 149% increase in rape when these prostitutes were made illegal. And that's a fact. Also to prove it is estimated in the United States that 25% of all rape cases will decrease only if prostitution is made legal. And well, 25% of that is equivalent to 25,000. So 25,000 rape cases in the United States will not occur if prostitution is made legal. And the same would definitely apply to Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea, currently we do not have any brothels to entertain the prostitutes and all this. Therefore, you see, people don't know where to go and where to find those prostitutes. Therefore, you see, we have many reports of rape cases in every time we look in the media, newspaper, television, internet, everything. We see rape cases. People just don't know where to go. And finally, prostitution will increase the economy of the nation. Prostitution, as one of my colleagues has mentioned, is among the world's oldest trade, and it will certainly increase the economy of a nation. Well, we have the LNG projects coming in, and according to Vision 2050, there will be around 25,000 workers coming, and a massive 85% of these workers will be male expatriates from other countries. Actually, they leave their wives, leave their children, and come to take part in the project. And since they are expatriate, they will certainly invest, or in other words, send money back to their homeland respectively. And economically, this will cause a very devastating effect on Papua New Guinea. Economists term it as leakage. Do you know what leakage means? Come from the word leak. They get the money from Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea's money, they got the money, but they invested somewhere else. So our economy is eventually being drained. They won't spend money here because food and shelter will be provided. The only way to cater for this, and apart from other, is prostitution. Sex industry will actually help hold back some of our money back instead of what is rightfully ours being thrown out of the nation. Our money should stay back with us because it's our money. Compared to Thailand, Thailand has also increased economically because they legalized prostitution. Nowadays, as I've mentioned, Thailand is among the richest nations in the Orientals. Therefore, we, the government, strongly argue that prostitution should, and it's a must, that it will be legalized. Thank you.
Now he's really serious, isn't he? Timothy Nigal from the fourth and final speaker from Team Sogeri National High School, the team that's going for the topic prostitution should be legalized. All right, let's find out now what the opposing team, the final speaker, 10 minutes, has to say about the topic. Ambrose Daniels, please make him welcome.
I want to draw a picture here. We are still having problems in our minds. I will turn your problems into solutions now. He said something about, the last speaker said something about Thailand is the richest nation. Is there any competition under economic that is regarding prostitution? Let us compete with our resources, not selling our bodies. Okay, they said something about controlling HIV and AIDS. Millions of kina we have been draining into this program, trying to fight against HIV AIDS. You see, we have been given condoms to prevent this sickness. We are blowing condoms and using them as balloons out there on the street. we have attitude problem. How can you control these things when you don't control the attitude? Huh? How can you control such sinful thing when you don't control the human mind? Because you will still have problems with the mind. They will never listen to you, I tell you. Okay, they said something about culture. Let us go back and wear our tapa clothes, as I'm from Robben Island. Let us go back and wear our tapa clothes. Well, we attract tourists here because of our cultures. So stop talking about cultural shows. How can you attract tourists when you do away with your cultures? You see, I see no point in there why prostitution should be legalized in PNG. They talk about America. America is well-developed nation. Talking about Papua New Guinea, we are just, how many? Less than 40 years old. It's like you were born over a night and next day you were asking your daddy for 6 packs. Wow, my goodness. Let us put on our thinking caps now, my dear beloved Papua New Guineans. Let's not sell our bodies for money. It's like we are selling love. Love becomes artificial here. You are talking, they said something about satisfaction of sexual desires. I will tell you now, when prostitution is legalized, because of money, people will have sex. Prostitution is because of money. They said it is the main source of income for unemployed one. Well, because of money, the person that you don't have any affection about him, but because of Michael Somari, because of the big head or 20 kina or 50 kina, even 100 kina, you will offer your body. And you see, our constitution states that we are a Christian country. Come on, talking about prostitution, it will bring, we are now importing pornographic movies. And if you introduce polygamy, prostitution into this nation, we will become importers. Exporters, sorry. We'll be like a transporter. You know the film? We will export pornographic films. And you see, talking about Christianity and prostitution, adultery, and all this, they don't go alone with each other. They don't go alone with each other. This is a paradox. We will be called as Christian country yet sinful nation. Okay, unwanted pregnancy. You see, you are just prostituting around and somehow you realize that you are pregnant. You see, unwanted pregnant, that means the baby is unwanted baby. And here comes the abortion. Abortion, you will kill the baby, and it is against the Bible. You don't have to be a murderer. You don't have to kill. But because of it is unwanted pregnancy, then there will be a unwanted baby, and abortion is unwantedly committed. Or wantedly committed. Okay. Here. My dear beloved audience out there, please come with me. I have all the reasons, all the evidence. I don't want Papua New Guinea to drain out like that. We are now afraid of HIV and AIDS. You bring prostitution into this nation. They are talking about increase. Hey, decrease. How can you decrease HIV and AIDS when prostitution is there? Definitely anybody can be a prostitute because it's legalized. You see, how can you prevent it? You are talking about blood test. How many times will our medicals out there call for blood test? Prostitutes will get scared to get blood test because you see, if they go there and they found out that they are having this sickness, then nobody will sleep with them. You see, so how can they earn money? You see, you will still never and never and never and never decrease HIV and AIDS. It will definitely increase and increase and increase. So, as a concerned citizen of this country, I believe that you will come with me. And also, you see, talking about money, our lovely women out there, what about demoralizing every woman folk in Papua New Guinea? You will devalue them. But God said that after creating man, he said, it is not good for man to be alone. So let us create someone who can be with him. So that means he created woman, and woman was the perfect creation of God. You see, we have to value them. How can you demoralize them? It's like a soccer ball. 22 players out there on the field will have a touch. You see, I'll kick the ball to you, you kick the ball to him, and the ball goes on. We will treat our lovely women like this if prostitution is legalized in Papua New Guinea. And therefore, once again, beyond doubt, I strongly and firmly believe that you will agree with me and say that prostitution should not be legalized in PNG because it is a sinful thing, right? Then, therefore, case closed.
Well, I have nothing more to say. They've sent their bits. The judges have taken their scores. But let me ask you this question, our audience here at IBS. Do you think prostitution should be legalized? Okay. There we go. I think Sogeri is saying yes because their team is for the thing. But I think we should think about it more seriously. And that's going to be a really, really big problem with our policymakers when they argue the same topic, just like our two friends from the two schools have argued. There are thoughts about saying, if prostitution is legalized in PNG, maybe, let's say, should prostitution be legalized in NCD? Should prostitution be legalized in Ley? Not PNG, should prostitution be legalized in Enga province? So the whole of Enga province practice prostitution up there. So think about that, and something for the politicians or policymakers when they're thinking, let's try to, say here, there, or make it whole as Papua New Guinea. So from people who want to buy sex, they travel into the province, they make money, and then they travel out again. Now, just some thoughts. But that's what we're discussing. Thank you very much to our participating schools. That's Sogeri National High School for the ability. Please give them a big hand. Terence Cross, Melissa Manuel, Sonia Thine, and Timothy Nigal. Also from the opposing team, Henry Veratau, Vai Lahui, Anthony Amcia, and Ambrose Daniels. Please give them a big hand. Thank you very much.